So let's talk about this. When I say the worst boxer ever, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Probably some guy with a terrible record, right? Or maybe someone with just zero skill. Well, what if I told you it's a whole lot more complicated than that? I mean, look at this. On one side, you've got perfection personified. Floyd Mayweather, 50 wins, 0 losses. Untouchable. Then, you've got Christian Light, 12 wins and 279 losses. 279! That number is it's insane, right? It almost doesn't seem real.
But here's the thing. Is it really that simple? Does a mountain of losses automatically make you the, quote, worst? I think you'll find the real story is way, way more interesting.
Okay, so let's tackle the most obvious definition first. The spectacularly unskilled guy. You know, the one who steps into the ring and you just think, who let him in here? The guy who treats the fundamentals of boxing like they're just suggestions.
All right, meet Jimmy Smith. And here's the wild part. His amateur record was actually 3-0. Not bad, right? But then he turned pro. And his style? Oh man, it was like watching a real-life rock'em sock'em robot. Chin straight up in the air, hands down by his sides, just a sight to behold.
And how did that unique technique work out for him? Well, his entire professional boxing career lasted a grand total of 22 seconds. 22 seconds. He got knocked out cold. I mean, we've been talking for longer than his entire career lasted. So yeah, by that standard, he's definitely a top contender for the worst title.
Okay, so that seems pretty cut and dried. Case closed, right? Not so fast, because this is where the whole idea of worst gets turned on its head. What if I told you there are boxers who fight hundreds of times, and their job is to lose?
And that brings us to this fascinating group of fighters called journeymen. These guys are the unsung heroes, the bedrock of professional boxing. And paradoxically, they're essential to the sport precisely because they lose.
See, a journeyman's job isn't about padding their own stats. It's about building up the next big star. Promoters will call them up, sometimes with just a few hours' notice, and pay them to fight a hot new prospect. They need someone tough, someone who won't just fall over, to give that young kid a real taste of a professional fight.
And just look at these records, it's staggering. Reggie Strickland had 363 fights. Christian Light, the guy we saw earlier, was nicknamed Mr. Reliable for a reason. He fought 300 times. These guys were basically always on call, ready to step in the ring at a moment's notice.
So here's the key takeaway. Inside the world of boxing, these guys are not considered failures at all, not even close. They're seen as respected pros doing a necessary, tough job. Like former champ Tony Bello said, without guys like them, the pro game just wouldn't exist.
And don't mistake losing for being weak. These guys were unbelievably tough. Remember Christian Light? 279 losses? He was only actually stopped, like knocked out or TKO'd, a handful of times. He was a master of defense, of survival. He taught those rising stars what it's like to go deep into a fight. So really, can you call someone with that kind of specialized skill the worst?
This leads us to our last category, and honestly, it's the most mind-bending one. What if the worst boxer isn't the guy who couldn't fight or the guy who was paid to lose, but a guy who was actually a world champion?
Yeah, I'm talking about the fallen champions. These are the guys who had it all. The skill, the power, the charisma. They climbed the mountain and reached the absolute pinnacle of the sport, only to tumble right back down. Their time at the top was shockingly, disappointingly short.
Leon Spinks is the poster child for this. The guy wins an Olympic gold medal. Then, in just his 8th pro fight, he beats Muhammad Ali, the greatest. It was a massive upset. But then, just 7 months later, he loses the rematch, and his career just completely fell off a cliff. He ended up retiring with a losing record, a heavyweight champion of the world with more losses than wins.
Or how about Bruce Seldon? He did it. He won the WBA heavyweight title, lived the dream. But what's he remembered for? Getting absolutely starched by Mike Tyson in his first big defense. His legacy isn't that he was a champion, it's how spectacularly he lost the belt. And the list of these one-hit wonders is long. Buster Douglas pulls off the biggest upset maybe in all of sports history against Tyson, and then immediately loses the belt in his very next fight. Charles Martin held his title for about 5 minutes before Anthony Joshua took it. Bermane Stiverne was a legit talent who just seemed to quit on his career after one tough loss. It's story after story of incredible potential that just evaporated.
Okay, so let's wrap this all up. What have we learned? Well, we haven't found one single answer for the worst boxer in history. Instead, what we've really found are three completely different ways to even define what worst means in this sport.
So, the big takeaway here is that worst is totally subjective. You've got three main flavors. First, there's the unskilled, the Jimmy Smiths of the world, who just can't compete at a pro level. Second, you've got the journeyman, like Christian Light, who loses for a living and is respected for it. And finally, you have the fallen champion, the Leon Spinxes, the world-class talents who reached the top and couldn't stay there.
And that leaves us with one final, pretty deep question. Who is the real worst boxer? The guy who never learned how to fight in the first place, or the champion who forgot how to win? You know, it's a question that makes you think about what failure really is. Is it never having the talent? Or is it having all the talent in the world and letting it slip through your fingers?